How about that? Hi, how are you?
Hi, Donna. I'm really well, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Hi, everybody. Today I'm sitting with Helen Morgan. We are going to be learning about how emotions can connect to weight gain or weight stagnation, meaning that it becomes very difficult for us to lose weight when we have emotions that are kind of stuck inside of our body. I've invited Helen to come because she is an emotional code practitioner. And so she really works with energy work that is related to weight loss, and not really so much the weight loss as it is just like reconnecting the soul, the heart, and the emotions that once we kind of cope with those and release them, things just kind of happen naturally. So, Helen, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Okay, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm a certified emotion code and body code practitioner, and I'm in the UK. I'm all the way from the UK, and a little place called Wales, and a little seaside town called Tenby. I've been doing this for about 4 years, and it's what I love to do. I've had weight issues myself, and actually during the whole COVID thing, I put weight on, as we all did. You know, we've all put weight on during it. And so I really see the link. Actually, you summed it up so beautifully, Donna. You know, talking about how suppressing of emotion. You know, we tend to eat our feelings. Really, if we really think about it, when we go for that bag of chips or crisps, as we call them here in the UK, and often it's no, we're not hungry. We just want to try and fill a void, don't we? We just want to try, and we're just not feeling good, so we want to feel better. So I think it's very, very powerful to work with energy work and to work with our emotional, mental well-being in terms of losing weight. And I always think actually probably losing weight isn't how I would say releasing weight. We need to release weight. We don't need to lose
Yeah.
weight.
I tell patients when they come in, or clients, that it's like peeling an onion. There's so many different layers
Yeah.
that go into the whole weight issue that just to do a diet without doing some kind of energy work or hypnosis or bowls or whatever, you're really missing the mainstream of what's really bothering you. And then you regain the weight back because you haven't coped with a lot of the emotional things. So
Yeah.
many people probably don't, probably have never heard of the healing code because like most of the people that I know are really Western connected, Western medicine. So why don't
Yeah.
you explain a little bit about the emotional code or
Yeah.
the emotional healing techniques?
Yeah, well, it was developed by a chiropractor called Dr. Bradley Nelson. Really brilliant man. There's loads of stuff on YouTube if people want to look him up. Absolutely amazing kind of man. And he was in his practice. He was getting some of the sickest people on the planet coming in. You know, people with so-called incurable diseases. You know, quite serious illnesses, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, you know, cancers. And he developed it over a period of time, basically. And he realized that trapped emotions, when we go through life and through trauma, particularly, or very stressful situations, what we have a tendency to do is to suppress, to suppress emotion, and it can get stuck in the body. And he says it's like it can be the size of a little ball or a cantaloupe, and these are actual energies that are stuck in our bodies. And he always describes it as like, although we're physical beings, you know, we've got flesh, bones, everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
When you go down to the cellular level and you go deeper still, and science has proven this, you go at the quantum level, we're just pure energy. So that's why when these energies get stuck in our bodies, they literally distort the natural energy field of our body. And what that does, it starts to tear away our organs and glands, gives us pain, gives us problems with mental illness, physical illness. All kinds of problems are caused by these trapped emotions that were really never supposed to get trapped in the first place. They're not bad, there's no emotions are bad, but
Yeah.
they were meant to just flow through us. But unfortunately, when they overwhelm us or through stressful, very traumatic experiences, we often try to numb out. And that's just, as children, we didn't necessarily do that. You know, we were
I
actually quite open and fluid, but we've just developed these patterns, you know, where we suppress. And so it's those emotions that we want to try and identify. We can identify quite easily actually with these methods, and clear them. It doesn't have to take years in therapy. I always say to people, it does not have to take, therapy is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have to take years. You can clear them. And it's a journey, and so the weight issues really, it's a fascinating journey into your past and your history, to clear it, to heal it.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just focusing on diets, which don't work, like you say, long term. They really don't.
Yeah. And I think that's why I got so interested in, just working at my practice. Over the years, I noticed that we were getting people on weight loss medicine. We were doing a lot of weight loss stuff, but then they would gain the weight back. And my question was always like, why does that happen? And so I also too, studying the healing code, the emotional code, and learning about different kind of energy work. And I think you said you have a good point. Like, we are all energy. What makes our heart beat, what makes our brain work. Water is H2O, that's energy. And I think we forget that we are these energy spiritual beings. And in that, things really do kind of accumulate. And then you kind of add in like that whole childhood trauma. You don't learn as a child like how to deal with trauma. And so what you do is you internalize it because you don't know what else to do. And those are the things I think that I see impressively do well with some of the healing code, especially, working your way through it. So there's a heart wall in the healing code, and there's two different ways that you do it. One, you work with emotions, and one, you work with the heart. Would you like to kind of explain that?
Yeah. So the trapped emotions I talked about, they can lodge anywhere in the body. So you can have trapped emotions actually in the liver area, the thyroid area, all different areas of the body. But the heart wall was discovered. I think Dr. Nelson actually discovered it. And he basically describes it as when we go through trauma or difficult situations. For example, anybody who goes through a divorce will develop a heart wall because it's the only way you're going to get through it, Mm-hmm. But, sometimes people develop much earlier in life. And they literally, the subconscious mind wants to keep you safe. That's fundamental. That's the real power, because talk about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, which I think I just need to explain. The conscious mind, if you think of an iceberg analogy, mm-hmm. and the conscious mind is the tip of the iceberg, but the subconscious mind is all that's underneath the water,
bigger.
So it's where everything is held, everything you've ever experienced, everything you've ever tasted, touched, every person you've ever met. It can remember literally everything. It can remember what you ate for dinner last week. Consciously, I can't remember what I ate for dinner last week, but it knows. So we always say that it has the answers to everything that ails us. And so the subconscious mind is fundamentally protective of the person. And so it will build this wall around our heart, which is our spiritual center, to stop our heart getting broken, or if it feels our heart's going to be broken. And so what that does temporarily is that protects the heart. But in the long term, what it does, it's literally like, it puts us in almost like a bomb shelter. So we're literally feel disconnected, we feel numbed out, we suffer from depression, we can't really feel our feelings, we can't give and receive love, and you don't necessarily know why that is. I used to think, well, why do I feel this disconnected from people, or isolated even when I'm with people? It's because I had a great big heart wall, and it literally builds it out of material. It creates, everybody's got a unique material. So some people have steel, so mine I had like 20 layers of steel. No one was getting in my heart wall. And when it's safe to do so when we're out of the trauma, obviously if we're in an abusive situation or a trauma, you'll find you cannot release the heart wall. The heart wall is needed, but most of us aren't in that anymore. And you can just literally remove heart wall emotions. And I find now it doesn't take maybe one session, because it used to take a lot. Dr. Nelson said they're coming down really fast, the heart walls now.
I think because we need each other and we love each other, and I think we are craving connection and love, and I think we want to let those go. We just don't know what the emotion is, and two, how to get rid of it. So I know, like for me, my dad left when I was very little, and so I had these heart wall emotions of unworthiness, of not having love in my life, or being supported, or self-worth. And so like doing the process of this is so healing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think how it relates to weight loss is obviously we numb out, and so what happens is you develop this other energy called heart-seeking energy, or addictive heart energy. So it seeks what it can't find from within, outside yourself. Mm-hmm. So in other people, in addictions of all kinds, not just food, but food is one of them. And so, so we're literally seeking what we should be seeking inside. I don't like the word should, don't like using the word, but what we would normally be looking for inside, we're looking outside all the time because we can't connect inside. And so you get this addictive heart energy, which is ultimately, it doesn't feed us, literally. It doesn't feed us. And that's where the overeating comes in. And certainly that was the case for me. I had that tendency. I would just go out and buy. I'd go to my local Marks and Spencers we have Marks and Spencers in the UK, and have all this yummy, well, I thought it was yummy, but I would buy all this food and then just sit and cook it and eat it. And it was like, it just made me happy temporarily for 5 minutes or whatever. I had that for years, you know. And it was the addictive heart energy, because I wasn't really in touch with, you know, my internal spiritual heart, if you like.
Yeah.
So so it's what's fascinating as well. They've actually measured that the heart gives out a frequency. You know, it gives out, I think it's just about 6 to 10 feet around us. It actually generates its own energy field as well. So you imagine when you have a wall in front of it, it can't expand out. We can't connect. We can't give and receive love. So it's a very profound thing to bring this wall down. It's not just about what it does for your weight, it's what it does for your relationships. People tend to find their mission in life, their purpose in life, they get more money.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. So let's demonstrate maybe, can you like kind of go through a scenario maybe for us, what you use
Would you like me to show you how I connect with a person? So yeah, so we use muscle testing. So basically muscle testing is like the training wheels for your intuition, because we all have intuition, but many of us are just not used to using it. And so we use muscle testing to connect. So the reason we can connect with another person on the other side of the world, for example, like everybody I've ever worked on, I don't think I've ever worked directly on anybody. They're all over the place. Is the reason we could do it is because it's a bit like the Wi-Fi. We're connected tonight. We know we're connected. We don't really know how it works, but we are, because we're all part of one energy. So the beautiful thing about the subconscious mind, it can put aside its own needs in order to connect and help another person. And so you would always ask for help. We always ask for spiritual help. So for whatever we believe in, we ask, because we can't do it on our own. And then we connect with the person. And so I was going to connect to you, Donna.
Yeah.
So do I have your permission? I need your permission in a minute. Okay. So at the moment, I use muscle testing, ring in ring. Yeah. So it's like a strong, if my name is Helen, it's a strong test. My name is John, it's a weak test. So if I say, can I act as proxy? We call it energy proxy for Donna, strong. So am I Donna? Am I Helen? So I've now become your energy, yeah? So that's how I would connect with you. And then we would just start asking your subconscious mind. I'll disconnect from you in a minute, don't worry. we would start asking your subconscious mind questions like, I'm not going to do it. Do I have a heart wall? Or do I, is there a trapped emotion that's causing or contributing to my problems with weight? And we would connect with that. We would identify it. I haven't got my chart on me, but we have a chart of 60, there's 60 the most common trapped emotions. We would identify it, where it was from. We could identify it down to the age, give or take a year. And then we clear it. We use magnets to clear it, which sounds a bit strange, but there's a governing meridian that runs along the back of the head, right down the spine. And we use a magnet to literally zap the emotion. Once it's raised, it's come up, it said, hi, I'm here. And we zap it basically, because a magnet, now this is an interesting experiment, which I don't recommend anyone ever does. You get the credit card strips, and if you rub magnets across the back of a credit card, you can erase all the information on a credit card. Very similar process for the body. Nice. So, and that's how we do it. Then we test, we cleared it, yes, no. And that's how we do it. Would you like me to share something that people could, because ringing rings takes a little bit of practice to learn, but something that people could actually do at home? Would you like that?
Yeah.
I'm going to disconnect from you. Yeah. Am I Donna? No, I'm Helen. Because you don't want to stay connected to each other, because you'll start taking on my stuff. I'll start taking on your stuff. So right. So if people get their thumb and their finger, and just don't look at your fingers while you're doing this, but just gently, very gently move them around and say, my name's Helen, or in your case, it's Donna. It's nice and smooth. Then you can say, my name is Jeffrey. And for me, my fingers start to get it feels a bit resistant. And the reason is the body is a natural lie detector. It's how lie detectors work, actually. The body knows the difference between truth or lies. And so that's quite a simple way that people can do it. There's also the sway test. Donna, did you want to do the sway test?
Yeah, I'll do that one. That's fun.
The sway test is a really good one because the sway test is very obvious.
So I teach this to patients in the office because I think it's an easy one to teach home. But you basically just stand with your feet apart to your shoulders. And you're doing the same thing that Helen was just talking about. You're saying, my name is Donna. My name is Donna. And you're just waiting for the body to give you a sway. And if you sway forward, for me, forward is yes. And if you sway backwards, it's no. So when I'm saying my name is Donna, my name is Donna, I'm just waiting for the sway. And I'm swaying forward. And if we go with what Helen was saying, my name is Jeffrey. You can feel yourself kind of go
backwards. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say kind of what you're saying too, Helen, like sometimes it takes a little practice. I had a lady that came in and I was trying to teach her that at the office, and she didn't pick it up the first time, and she was a little, but you know, she was also in a very uptight mood. I think hydration has a lot to do with it as well, but I think you also have to be
very important. Hydration is very important. To be hydrated. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think anytime you're trying to do muscle testing, you have to remember that this is energy work. And if your mind is kind of all over the place, it's going to be very hard for you to kind of zone in on what your body's trying to tell you. So
yeah. And one other way you can do that, you can also think about the word love, and your body will start to swivel. Think about the words hate, and your body will start to repel from it. It's fascinating, and you can do what you can do with it, which is quite interesting. You can test for foods doing it, so you can find out if this is a good food or a bad food for you at any given time. So that's something that people can do at home. Everybody can learn to muscle test. Really, everybody can learn to muscle test. It's not that difficult, and it's absolutely fascinating, and body's just an amazing lie detector, you know, and it knows what's good for you. And eventually, if you do it enough, you'll start to instinctively know without having to muscle test. I'm not sure I'm at that point yet. Sometimes things will pop into my head now, but I still muscle test to be sure. But yeah, you can absolutely, that's your intuition really starting to work, you know.
Would you like to clear an emotion for me today?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I think seeing is believing, seeing is learning. Yeah.
Let me get my chart. I've got it right by here. It's my chart of emotions. Okay. Just hang on, Donna.
Yay! Isn't this fun?
That's a great idea.
It's going to learn something.
This is the book, The Emotion Code, by Dr. Bradley Nelson. Forward by a man called Mr. Tony Robbins. I think we know him.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, we know, lovely Tony. So everybody, I think you can get it on Amazon. Great book, and it teaches you how to do this. Well, this is how I started before I certified.
Me too. I have a book too, and that's how I use it.
Yeah. So I'm going to get the chart. I've got my little chart. There we are. So this chart is actually I've got my big magnets as well. But this chart is magnetic. You can use a fridge magnet. I mean, it says anything magnetic. Your hand has got magnetic energy. Some people just use their hand, you know. It looks a bit strange because when you first do it, people think, oh, it's a bit strange, but it's you soon get used to people swiping their hands over the head. Okay, so I'm going to ask Donna. I'm going to connect with you, Donna. Okay, I'll just say a little quiet prayer to connect with Donna. So I'm going to ask, can I act as proxy for Donna? Yes, I'm Donna and I'm Helen. So I've been doing it quite a long time, so I can get the connection quite easily. So again, I put aside myself. Yeah, the body has the ability to do that. So Donna, would you like me to ask you specifically, just do you have a trapped emotion that you would like to release? Just have quite a general question, not honest, because you can ask for specific issues, you can narrow it down, but I think just open it up. So is there a trapped emotion you'd like me to release? Yes. So if you notice, when I'm muscle testing, I never ever look at my fingers, because if you look at your fingers, you start putting too much, it just goes to pot. I don't know why, but Dr. Brad always says that, never look at your fingers. So we've got 2 columns. We've got 60 trapped emotions in 2 columns. Well, these are the lowest vibration emotions. They're not bad, but if they get stuck in the body, you don't want them there really. You want to get them out. So is the first one column A, odd row 1? Is it abandonment? Yeah. So it's a trapped emotion of abandonment. Now, Donna, do you mind me asking how old you are?
I'm 58.
58. Don't look it, Donna.
Thank you.
Great. Look at it, looking great. So is it before 58? Okay, so is it before 50? So again, I'm asking, is it before 40? Is it before 30? So going back, is it before 20, 10, 5, age 5? So we say that it can be a year or so out. It could be age 4, it could be age 5. So around that time, you experienced something that made you feel abandoned. So it could be a physical abandonment, it could be an emotional abandonment. Sometimes our caregivers, our parents, emotionally abandon us, not deliberately. It's just because they're so caught up in their own lives, So does that ring any bells for you, Donna?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So can we clear it? Yeah. So to clear it, I've got my magnets, but again, you can use your hand, anything really. But I just use these. So we're going to roll with 3 rolls the magnet with the intention to clear and transmute it into love light. The reason we transmute it is because it's just energy. Energy can't be destroyed. It can only be turned into something else. Yeah. So we turn it into the highest vibration that is possible, which is love and light. And so it goes out back into the universe as love and light, which is what it always wanted to do. It just wanted to move through, and it got stuck. So, okay, so I'm going to clear, cleanse, transmute into pure love, light, and source consciousness, trapped emotion of abandonment from Donna. We always try and keep a feeling of love and gratitude that we're doing it. Because again, love and gratitude, again, the highest vibration emotions that we have. If you look at the scale, I think it was it Dr. something Hawkins? He had this scale of emotions, and the low vibe, and I can't remember his name. He's an amazing man. So did we clear it? Yes, we did. Yeah, so that's been cleared. So the test is strong that we've cleared it. So yeah, so that actually is a heart emotion as well. It tends to get stuck in the heart area. So would you like me to do another one, or
yeah, sure.
Okay, do another one. It is fun. It is fun. Can I clear another one? We may come up with inherited ones. They're interesting. We haven't even got onto those. They're all different types. So can we clear another one? Yes. Is it column A or B? Is it odd or even? Is it 2 or 4 or 6? So is it pride, shame, shock, unworthy, worthlessness? Okay. So it's trapped emotion of worthlessness. Obviously, it is what it says when you feel you don't have any self-worth. Is it before 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5? Okay, so this is inherited. Is it inherited or is it prenatal? Is it shared? Sometimes you can share them with other people. You can absorb them. Children especially absorb emotion from their parents. And this is inherited. So we didn't plan on talking about inherited, but inherited, just briefly to talk about it, is when we inherit it from our parents, and they have often inherited it from their parents. And there was a study done with mice that they were in a maze, not really nice experiment, but they were in a maze, and they had a strong smell of, it was some kind of strong scent in one part of the maze. I'm trying to think what it is. I can't remember, but it was something strong smelling, and it was electrocuted, that part of the maze. So when they went in it, they had a little shock, which is horrible, I know. And anyway, the offspring, they found the offspring of these mice up to 7 generations put in the same maze, but without any electric shock or anything. It was just that area had the same scent, and it would not go into that set area because they inherited from their parents that pattern. You know, they inherit it up to 7 generations. I think it's called the science of epigenetics. It's absolutely fascinating.
Huh.
So this is inherited, which means that this is your baggage that you brought with you from your family, from your ancestors. And so you want to clear it because it's going to predispose you to having that feeling. And sometimes people work on themselves and they say, I still feel this anxiety or this worthlessness in this case. And it's because they have it. It's an ancestral trauma, basically.
Yeah.
So we're going to find out, did you get it from your mum? Did she get it from her mother and her mother? So how many generations does it go back? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 9 generations. So each generation we say is about 40 years. So 4 9s are, my math is terrible. 4 9s are, 9 4s are 360, about 400 years. So, and what's really fascinating, sometimes if you've done your ancestral tree, you know, especially if they don't go back too far, you can know who the ancestor was. And I always find that really fascinating. So that was your great grandmother 9 generations. So she had an experience that was so traumatic to her that she trapped this sense of worthlessness for whatever reason, and she passed it on to her offspring. And do you have any children?
3.
So we can test if they inherited this. Yes, they've inherited it. Now, the beauty with this work is you always need permission with energy work, but with inherited stuff, you can clear it. You can clear it from you can clear it from your children, and it will clear from their children when they eventually, or if they have children. Do you have any grandchildren, Donna? No, you don't look old enough for that. But they won't pass that on to their children. So it stops with your line now. Yeah, and that's why I love to clear inherited stuff, because it's very powerful. So can we clear it? Yes. So we clear it with 10 rolls of the magnet. Just for some reason it needs more. Obviously, there's more people have been, and it will clear from anyone, anywhere who has ever inherited it. So it will clear. It's big. You know, we don't know how many it will clear, but it's big, and it also clear from your children. So I'm going to clear, cleanse, transmute into pure love, light, source consciousness, this inherited worthlessness. Love and gratitude from Donna, from all her children, and any soul living or dead who has also inherited it. Love and gratitude. Thank you. Got the chills on that one. We clear it. Yeah. Yeah. We cleared it. It's gone. Yeah. Is it clear from your children? Yes. Important that it's cleared from them. So, so inherited ones. Yeah, we didn't plan on that coming up, did we, Donna? So yeah, I think it's fascinating, and it's often why we have predispositions to certain things, you know, and because we've inherited them from our ancestors, and we need to clear them. So they're powerful as well, because we don't pass them on to our own kids then, you know.
Right. It's so interesting, because I don't think often, well, I rarely would ever even think about, like, what am I getting from my grandparents? But you can think about your parents and their pains and how you inherit them, because sometimes you can feel them, but then you think about, like, that pain came from their grandparents, from their, you know, like, it generationally goes back.
It goes back, yeah.
Yeah.
And our ancestors often had awful lives. You know, most people's ancestors, especially women, would have had awful lives and very disempowered lives. And so we can't know what that ancestor went through. But Dr. Brad always teaches as well that the ancestors, they want to be free as well. You know, from the other side, they want to, and it's quite a lovely thought that we may have helped them as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if your mum still with you, or
Yep.
Yeah, it was cleared from your mother as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a really lovely thing to do. But I'll disconnect from you now. So
Okay.
I'm going to disconnect from Donna. Yeah, I'm cleared. Yeah, that's it. Always important to disconnect.
Can you maybe speak towards some of the self-sabotaging behaviors and how those hook up with energy? Because I feel like the weight is really hooked to self-sabotaging ourselves and preventing ourselves from being who we came here to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's usually, you know, it's trapped emotion, really, you know, worthlessness, different depends on what's for each individual you know, person. we can clear them from groups as well. Like I worked on my group, I did self-sabotage on the actual whole group energy of what we all shared as a group. And it can also be beliefs. So if you imagine that, so the roots, you know, the root, if you imagine a tree and you've got the tree and the roots and the branches. So the roots, you know, are the trapped emotions, and then the trunk, and then the branches are the beliefs. Because from our trapped emotions, like if you have a trapped emotion of worthlessness, you're going to develop certain beliefs about yourself. So you can clear beliefs as well, because they're mental energies. They're not, they have their own vibration. So if you identify them, you can clear them just as you would a trapped emotion. So we have different in the body code, different types of belief systems, and things called broadcast messages, things that we emanate out. You can also get stuff from other people, and this when it gets quite interesting. You can get offensive energies from people, cords. You can have energetic cords to people, perhaps from toxic relationships or bad past abusive relationships. We can still be actually physically corded to that person, so we're still picking up their energy. That's the thing. Or if we've been in an abusive relationship, we can still be carrying the burden of that energy, which made us feel really, really bad about ourselves. And so again, you need to clean that up, you know, so that we can move on, you know, move on from our lives. So so that's the kind of things we tend to find with self-sabotage in particular, is belief systems and trapped emotions. And again, these can be from this life, or they can be from ancestors. We don't, in the body code, it's not actually taught about past lives, but I'm very open to the fact that we just don't know. I don't know, you know, I don't know. So I always hold the intention that if it's from past life, that it will clear as well, because we just there's so much that we don't understand and we don't know. So I always hold that intention.
Yeah, and in utero, nobody thinks about like what the mother emotions are when they're pregnant.
Yeah, very
All
powerful.
those chemicals that are made during the body during pregnancy, the baby is getting those same chemicals. So not only are they getting the chemicals, they're getting the emotion, that, you know, how much sleep, how much alcohol, how much stress you're under. All of that kind of creates an energy field, which can also get stuck during pregnancy.
Yeah. And babies as well will absorb, we call them prenatal emotions. So they can absorb from the mother. And it's usually the mother, I suppose, because they're so connected, but they can absorb things, you know, that are going on outside as well at the time. You know, I once worked on somebody that he'd been put up for adoption, but he'd been through a very traumatic experience, and I won't kind of go into it too much, but he in utero, he absorbed the terror and the fear and the things that he'd heard around his mother at that time. And so again, it can go back in utero, definitely. Yeah.
Can you maybe give us an example of a patient that had some really nice results?
Well, yeah, I think what people find really is that it's transformational. Do you mean in terms of weight loss, or just
anything?
Well,
I'm sure you have a good story. I would have like story.
I've got a life story that this isn't a person though. This is my most recent case is a dog. And this is why I say it's so powerful, because sometimes people will say it's placebo or it's this or that. This is a dog, and she was 5, and she lost use of her back legs. She was an Alsatian. She didn't have the hip dysplasia. They thought it was a disc, but they were going to put her down. And her owner came to me and said, "Can you help?" And I said, "I'll do my very, very best." She took 5 sessions, and she's fine. She's walking, and it's just like, this dog is not. I always say to people, the dog, because the owner was very skeptical. I have to say, it's a friend of mine. She does my hair, and she said, "If you can help my dog, I'll give you free haircuts for the next 6 months."
Yeah.
I said, "You've got a deal." She said, "I don't really believe in any of this." She said, "But I'm desperate." And I said, "Yeah." And I was worried because the dog had no use for that leg. She was just literally for 2 weeks had been lying in her own poo and wee, and it was horrible.
Oh.
And the poor dog, you know, but I worked on her, and she's up, she's walking, she's fine. She's a little bit stumbling. We've got a little bit more work to do, but she's out and about and walking, and the owner's absolutely
thrilled.
Yeah. And my other lady,
what kind of emotions did the dog have that was stuck?
Oh, this is where it got really fascinating, right? The dog had absorbed trapped emotions from the owner from 2 years ago. Physical emotional shock energy. Physical and actual, the uterus, she absorbed what we call a disconnection. This is where there's a tear in the energy field. So we can have a broken heart. It's called a spirit disconnection in the heart. This was a broken uterus. And I said to her, I won't say her name, but I said, do you know what this is? This dog is taken this from you. And she said, oh my God, she said, I had a miscarriage 2 years ago. She said, the dog had taken the energy on from her. The dog was so badly affected by this experience that she took the energy on, and it lodged in the lumbar vertebrae, and it was that caused the. She had a disc, definitely a disc protruding. There's no two ways about that. But by removing that energy out of the dog, the body will always try and heal itself. It's miraculous. We know this. The body is designed to heal itself. How do we know a cut heals itself? It just does. Yeah. So the body will always naturally work towards health. And she said, oh man, I was like, oh my God, I didn't expect to find that, in this dog. And she said, yeah. And this dog was like such a beautiful being, because she obviously tried to take it from the owner, which is what animals do. They try and take on.
That gave me chills.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful case. And thank God that the dog, is going to be okay. And they didn't want to put her down. And the vet had said, we need to put this dog down. And she said, I'm just going to give this a go. We thank God. Yeah. Thank you. But there was just one other case, just most recent one, which was really touching. A lady came to me, and she had been in an orphanage until the age of 6, and she had shared trapped emotions with all the other little orphans of abandonment and heartbreak and love unreceived. And she had a lot of weight issues herself. And she had gone through this shared experience. And what was beautiful was we could release it from her. But if these people were still alive now, obviously it was like 50 odd years ago, she was in the orphanage, it would release from them as well. And she was just crying, because and you really felt that energy of these children, So it's always fascinating, and it's you have to keep your mind open, and you never know what's going to come up. And it takes a certain amount of courage, but it's also, it's also fascinating, because it is so fascinating story.
Yeah.
And
I did one a couple weeks ago, and while we were figuring out the emotions and the age, the patient did not even recall the memory that she was having that was wrapped around the weight issue. And as she was explaining it, it was clear, like, the situation that happened was a big deal. And she left there going, oh my gosh, like, I didn't even remember that. And that was the point in which that emotion got really stuck, when people were making fun of her, what she was wearing, what she was doing. And she had a very vivid experience.
Wow.
With the healing code, the emotional code. So I think the work you're doing is just amazing. And I love to hear, that it's helping generations, it's helping healing our children going forward, because they are a product of our emotions as well.
Yeah. And it's interesting what you say with the lady with that, because what often weight will be as well is symbolically, it's a way of keeping yourself behind something, you can have like heart walls, but you can have, I don't particularly like the word fat wall, but you can have literally a fat wall. And what it is a protection to keep us safe. We build up this armor around us, in the form of physical weight. And it'll always be linked to something like what you've said about, and in her subconscious mind, remember, it wants to protect her. It wanted to protect her in that situation. So it would have built those things up into her subconscious to keep her safe. And when you understand that, you realize, you're ready to let it go. And it's this beautiful thing. And it's a privilege to help people, because it's always bigger than the weight issue or whatever you're working on. It's always part of people's history, and like their families as well, which is lovely.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you'd like to add about, like,
Um,
if somebody wanted to do virtual work with you, how would they find you? And
Oh, well, yes, I can send you my link, Donna. I also have a group, a free Facebook group. So probably the best way people initially, if I send you the link, you can add it. They can join my free Facebook group. And I actually working on I do group work in that group, which is free. I do one-to-one work as well. And I always say to people to book perhaps a 20-minute chat, to see whether they think it's right for them. They can talk to me more about what their issues are and what they want to work on, and it is a no obligation thing. I just wanted to say one more thing about weight, because it's buzzing in my mind. We talked about this before, didn't we, about the sweetness of life. Like, I used to crave a lot of sweet stuff, and I realized it was very symbolic as well of the fact I had no sweetness in my life. So incorporating, just, this is something you could do without you don't even have to have an emotion code session. You can just bring more things into your life that make you feel good, not food, and just whatever that is for you. It doesn't have to involve spending great amounts of money or anything. But and so now to be honest, I don't really think about sugar at all, because I realized my life was just bit dragging along, and I wanted to get some more sweetness into it. So just little things like that can make a big difference as well. But yeah, certainly people be very welcome to come along to the group, and it's really friendly, and I do group clearings there as well. So
I'll have to see how that works. That's fun.
Yeah, group clearing is something I only started doing a few months ago. I thought, was it possible? I thought, why not? And then I heard other people doing about it as well, and you just connect to the group in the same way. Group energy is really special as well, because you get the energy of the entire group, and it's very, very healing. And if you believe that the ancestors are there, and they're all the guardian angels and all the beings of light are there as well, so it's actually very, very powerful and actually quite transformational. It tends to, on actual physical issues, you tend to need to go one-to-one. So if somebody had like a back problem, you really need to work one-to-one. But the group work as well, I think we've done things on self-worth, self-esteem, stress in the pandemic, being an empath. We're doing one on intuition tonight. So it's fascinating. It's fascinating, and it's what I love to do. It's what I love to do.
Nice. So you said you have one tonight?
Yes, it is. It is tonight. But it's tonight in UK, so that's like in 30 minutes. But it's all my lives are recorded. So now this is where it's interesting. So even if people miss them, I hold the intention that anybody on the replay will get the same benefit as if you watch it live. So you have to stretch your mind a little bit for this. But so anybody can watch them at any time and still get the energy clearing going on. And people do report, feeling the energy shifting around, especially if they're sensitive in their bodies.
I've been doing the energy work for a while, and I can't speak to it enough. I think that if I wouldn't have been doing all the meditation and the healing work that I have been doing, I'd be sick, just from, the things of life that happen, and, how we hold all that stress in. But when we're doing this work and we're releasing that stress, we're letting it go freely instead of letting it develop into something inside of our body. So it's so important to be taking care of ourselves, to be taking care of our health, of our cells, our energy, our spiritual, our everything, even nutrition, food is energy too. So anyway, so that's really good. So what time does your classes usually run?
Well, at the moment, we're a bit hit and miss at the moment, because I had a lot of internet issues, but I've got them sorted out today. So usually I try and do something once a week. I literally hop on every day though, and do, little tips to help people, especially at this time, Donna. It's a very, very tough time. People are, really struggling. So they're just free little tips and ideas and things to, to help you maintain your balance and emotional well-being, because it's, because they now know, don't they? I think it's something like, isn't it 95% of all illness is stress related, or
I think the quotes change from time to time, but anywhere from 80 to 90% typically.
Really high. So we need to look after ourselves, emotionally, and our families. And we can't always control what's happening outside of ourselves, but we can control what's happening inside. We really can. And so, yeah, I hop on every day. I'm trying to at the moment to just give little tips, and I'm going to have special guests on. I'm going to have you on, Donna, and different people, and so it's just a nice little group. And I'm developing some courses as well, some group courses and things like that. So there's lots in the pipeline, for people, and with the one-to-one work as well. But yeah, people will be very, very welcome if they want to join. We love you.
Yeah, I think everybody needs to get into a lot of groups that have information about how to self-modulate. So many of these stuck emotions started at a time in our life where we didn't have any coping mechanisms. And as we age, they rebirth themselves and they come on fairly strong. And so like, I feel a lot of, those emotions that we're having today are, as you said in the tree scenario, they're rooted from our childhood, and really doing the work to clear this is so essential going forward and to live a life. God expected us to be here with joy, with love, and with happiness. And I question to all of you watching, like, how much joy do you have? How much happiness do you have? And if you don't have it, like adding in this energy work, adding in some meditation, adding in eating appropriately, and, really, really loving on yourself. And that's
the most powerful thing, isn't it? Self-love. And it's the key to everything. And there's so many things that we can do to help ourselves. We're not victims, and it doesn't have to be difficult. I mean, some people are coming with much more trauma than other people. They've been through a lot.
Bad things happen.
But it's always there. And the thing is, if we don't clear it, it's not going anywhere. It's there 24/7, and even if you've suppressed it, it's affecting you, it's affecting you physically and mentally and emotionally. So there's no running away from it, but it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to take years and years and years and years in therapy. But I'm against therapy because I think there's a time and a place for everything. But
All right. Well, we're speaking today with Helen Morgan, and she is an emotional code healer and has done a lot of work with that over the years. And you can find her on Facebook, and your Facebook page is called?
It's Evolve with the Body Code. So if you type in Evolve with the Body Code, you will find my group, and then you just literally send requests and I'll let you in. So it's a private group, which is nice because it's public groups, anybody can see what you write, whereas a private group, nobody can see what you write if you want to share things or ask questions. So it's been going about two months, and we've got about nearly 400 members, so it's lovely. And we all need to kind of come together in these groups and like share our knowledge and our wisdom, especially I think at this time it's really vital now.
I do too.
That we all do that. Yeah.
I do too. All righty. Well, stay tuned and join up with Helen Morgan, and anything from my end. I also do the Healing Code at the office here in St. Louis, Missouri. So you can text or sign up for our group as well at Health and Energy. For next time, see you guys later. Thanks again, Helen. You are beautiful.
Thank you so much. So it's been lovely.